Beginning. The species that should not exist. Lieutenant Ralvek Thurn of the Varn Ascendancy stood on the balcony of the Orbital Training Academy, watching the recruits perform grav-drop drills. The sky below shimmered with the glowing upper atmosphere of Kreshel 4, a world famous for its military institutions. Ralvek had studied every known species of the galaxy, memorized their strengths and weaknesses, and mastered their combat forms. He had earned distinction in every survival exam, fought in 3 border campaigns, and graduated top of his class in interspecies tactics. He thought he understood war. He thought he understood danger. He thought humans were fairy tales. That changed on a cold rotation in the observation bay. "Lieutenant," his commander barked, "report to Hangar 6. We have an unidentified vessel coming out of subspace." The image on the screen was grainy. The ship was crude, angular metal plating, exposed piping, and thrusters that flickered like a dying torch. It wasn't Varan, Traylon, Vesk, or any of the known factions. "Looks abandoned," Ralvek said. "It's not." The commander zoomed in. A figure stood inside the viewport, tall, upright, wearing a simple suit and helmet. Humanoid, broad-shouldered, and unmistakably human. Ralvek felt his throat tighten. "That can't be," he whispered. "They're extinct." "Then explain it," the commander snapped. "Because it's requesting docking permission." The room went silent. The human arrives. The ship docked with a groan, metal screeching against metal. A boarding team assembled, Ralvek among them. When the hatch hissed open, steam poured out. Then a voice echoed through the fog. "Hey," the figure said casually. "Anyone know where I can get a decent meal? Preferably not nutrient-paced." Every soldier froze. Humans weren't supposed to be polite, or calm, or joking. Ralvek stepped forward. "Identify yourself." The figure removed his helmet. Dark hair, deep brown eyes, a small scar on his cheek. "Name's Jack Hale," he replied. "Pilot, mechanic, traveler. And I think I'm very lost." "You're human." Ralvek's voice was barely a whisper. Jack shrugged. "Last I checked." The entire squad backed up involuntarily, every biological instinct screaming danger. Humans were not supposed to exist. Humans were not supposed to be alive. And yet here he stood, the middle, training with a myth. Jack was quarantined, questioned, scanned, studied, interrogated, and reinterrogated. Each time, he answered with the same baffling calmness. He was just normal. No death glare. No unstoppable bloodlust. No supernatural rage. Just a human. But the Varn couldn't take chances. Not with the galaxy's most feared cryptid species suddenly breathing again. The High Command made a decision. Observe him closely. Test him. Evaluate the threat level. Ralvek was assigned as his handler. Jack greeted him each day with a grin and a new sarcastic comment, most of which Ralvek didn't understand. The training tests began. Test 1. Gravity endurance. Varn soldiers averaged a collapse at 1.8 g. Krell berserkers lasted up to 2.2 g. Jack. He stretched lazily at 3.5 g and asked if they had heavier settings for an actual workout. Ralvek took notes with shaking hands. Test 2. Environmental resistance. Jack walked across a field of razor-shard ice without thermal gear. Tested in a high-temperature chamber, he lasted longer than the heat-borne Vesk. In a toxin scan, substances considered lethal to 9 species registered as mild irritants to him. Test 3. Reflex and combat ability. Ralvek faced him in the sparring ring. Jack didn't even assume a stance, he just moved. Fluid. Fast. Unpredictable. Ralvek was on the ground within 20 seconds. How did you? Ralvek gasped. Jack offered a hand. Buddy, that was me going easy. Didn't want to break anything important. Ralvek didn't know whether to feel flattered or terrified. Over weeks, a strange friendship formed. Jack wasn't a monster. He wasn't a legend. He wasn't the destroyer of worlds the stories claimed. He laughed easily, ate too much, teased Ralvek relentlessly, helped repair broken academy machinery because it was bugging him. But beneath the humor, Ralvek saw something else. A survivor, a fighter, a being shaped by a lethal world in ways others couldn't understand. And then a war came. The war begins. The Trelos Dominion, a brutal and expansionist empire, launched an unexpected attack on the Academy world. Orbital bombardment, ground assault, boarding pods slamming into the station. The Varan were elite fighters, but they were outnumbered. Alarms blared across the facility. Jack was still in observation hold when the first explosions hit. Ralvek sprinted to his cell. Jack stood calmly behind the energy barrier. "You have to release me," Jack said. Ralvek hesitated. "Human myths say your kind becomes uncontrollable in war. That you rage. That you destroy whatever you touch." Jack looked him in the eyes, voice steady. "You've trained with me for weeks. Did I ever hurt you?"
"No. You need me, Ralvek."
"Let me fight." Another explosion rocked the station. Ralvek made a decision. He disabled the barrier. Jack grinned and cracked his knuckles. Time to remind the galaxy why humans aren't myths. They fought. The hallways were chaos, collapsed ceilings, fires, bodies. Trelos infantry charged down the corridor. Ralvek raised his rifle. Jack stepped in front of him. "No need," he said. Then he moved. Ralvek had seen fast fighters, elite assassins, Krull berserkers at full frenzy. They were nothing like this. Jack was a blur, dodging plasma fire, closing distance in heartbeats, striking with precise, devastating force. Not wild, not uncontrolled, purposeful, efficient, terrifying. One moment the Trelos squad was advancing. The next, they were unconscious on the ground. Ralvek stared.
"How?
How can a single human do this?" Jack replied without turning. "Where I'm from, everything tries to kill you. If you stop moving, you die." Word spread quickly. The myth is real. Is that a human? He fights like a demon. Some soldiers followed Jack with awe, some with fear. But all of them fought harder knowing he was on their side. The critical moment. The Trelos pierced the central command nexus. If they took it, the entire planet would fall. Ralvek and Jack led the counterstrike. As they entered the nexus, they faced the Trelos war captain, an 8-foot armored brute wielding a plasma axe. It snarled. "What kind of creature are you?" Jack rolled his neck. "The kind you should have left in the realm of legend." The monster roared and charged. Jack didn't back away. He didn't brace. He stepped forward. Their clash shook the chamber. The Trelos war captain swung, cleaving through metal. Jack ducked under the blade, planted a fist into the creature's ribs hard enough to dent armor, then followed with a knee strike that cracked bone. But the war captain was massive, stronger physically. It slammed Jack into a wall, lifting him by the throat. Ralvek fired repeatedly, plasma bolts ricocheting off the armored hide. Jack looked dangerously close to losing consciousness. "Let him go," Ralvek shouted. The Trelos captain ignored him and tightened its grip. Jack's face reddened. His breath faltered. Ralvek feared this was the end of the human myth. Then Jack whispered, straining, voice barely audible. "Wrong move." His arm locked around the monster's elbow. His legs braced against the wall. And with a roar that shook the chamber, Jack broke the war captain's arm and flipped it over his shoulder. The creature crashed down. Jack grabbed Ralvek's fallen plasma blade, ignited it, and drove it into the enemy's armor, ending the fight. Silence filled the room. Jack stood, chest heaving. Tough guy. Ralvek stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. Not a myth. Not a monster. A warrior forged in a world too harsh for most species to imagine. Ending. The truth the galaxy could not deny. The Trelos assault was repelled. The Academy survived. Jack became a hero overnight. The Varan High Command convened an emergency summit, debating what to do with the galaxy's first living human in centuries. Some feared him. Some wanted to weaponize him. Some wanted to treat him as an anomaly and lock him away. Ralvek argued for him. He saved us, Ralvek said before the council. He saved thousands of lives. Humanity is not what the legends warned. Let him choose his own path. Jack was brought before the assembly. The High Commander asked, "Human Jack Hale, what do you want?" Jack smiled thoughtfully. "Your galaxy is big, strange, dangerous. I want to explore it, help where I can, fix what's broken, and maybe, just maybe, teach people what humans really were." "And your fighting ability?" the commander pressed. Jack shrugged. "I fight so others don't have to." Ralvek stepped forward. "If we deny him a place, we lose the one person who proved that myths can protect us rather than haunt us." A long silence. Finally, the High Commander spoke. "Very well. Jack Hale, you may serve as a free agent under Varan protection. You will be an envoy, an advisor, and, should you agree, a guardian." Jack grinned.
Deal.
Later, as he and Ralvek exited the chamber, the lieutenant asked quietly, "Jack, why did your species disappear?" Jack paused. "We didn't disappear," he said softly. "We just scattered. Spread farther than anyone expected. Some died. Some hid. Some kept wandering. I'm just one of many stories. Will others come?" Jack smirked. "Probably. Humans tend to show up when least expected." Ralvek exhaled, unsure if that thought soothed him or terrified him. Jack clapped him on the back. "Relax. If they're anything like me, you've got nothing to worry about." Ralvek raised a brow. "You terrify entire battalions." "Yeah," Jack admitted, "but I'm friendly about it." Final scene. The galaxy remembers. News spread across systems. Humans were real.
Alive.
And fighting again. Old legends resurfaced. Old fears rekindled. Old enemies trembled. But allies whispered a different message. If the humans return, choose to stand with them. Jack Hale, the myth made flesh, boarded a small starship, patched with Varan tech and human engineering. Ralvek stood beside him at the ramp. "Destination?" Ralvek asked. Jack grinned. "Anywhere trouble needs fixing." The engines hummed. The ship lifted off, streaking into the infinity of space. And so began the chapter the galaxy never expected. The Age of Humans Reborn.